The stage lights dim to a quiet hum. A barefoot boy, no older than 16, steps forward holding a battered guitar that looks as though it survived every storm he has. The audience shifts uncomfortably, unsure if they should hope or pity him. His shirt is worn, his jeans faded, yet his eyes, those trembling eyes, carry something ancient, something that hurts to look at. One of the judges leans back, sighing, he looks nervous. Another glances down at the list, no background, no story, just a name written in shaky handwriting. The boy takes a breath, places his fingers gently on the strings, and begins to play Hotel California. The first note is fragile, like it could break under its own weight. But when his voice joins it, the air changes. It's not just a song, it's an ache, a prayer, a cry wrapped in melody. The audience goes silent, drawn into the raw beauty pouring from him. The judges stare, mouths parting slowly. One covers her heart, another wipes away tears. The lights flicker against his face, revealing the pain hidden in each lyric. As the final chord fades, the crowd erupts into applause, but the boy looks up to the ceiling and whispers, "That was for you, Mom." The night before that performance, he had slept in a corner of a crowded shelter. His only possessions were a backpack, a photograph, and that old guitar. It wasn't just an instrument, it was a piece of his mother's soul. She used to sing Hotel California when he couldn't sleep, her voice the only comfort in a world that gave them nothing. She worked double shifts, always smiling, always saying, "Someday, your voice will change our life." But life had other plans. When illness took her, the boy was left with memories instead of dreams. He wandered from street to street, singing for coins, for kindness, for something that felt like hope. People passed, too busy to notice, except for one man, a janitor mopping the floor of a music hall. The man stopped, listened, and said softly, "Kid, you sound like the stars trying to find their way home." Days later, without telling him, that janitor recorded the boy's voice and submitted it to the biggest talent show in the country. When the acceptance letter came, the boy held it in disbelief. "Maybe," he whispered to the empty night, "this is her doing." The janitor smiled quietly, knowing the truth would come when the time was right. On the night of the audition, the boy stood beneath the spotlight, his heart pounding so loudly he thought the microphone could hear it. He began to play, his fingers shaking, but the sound was pure. Every chord told the story of his life, the empty plates, the nights under bridges, the sound of his mother's laughter echoing in his dreams. His voice soared through the theater, wrapping everyone in a blanket of emotion. The judges leaned forward, eyes glassy, as he sang the line, "Such a lovely place." Midway through, a guitar string snapped with a sharp twang. The audience gasped, but he didn't stop. He kept singing, letting his voice fill the silence where the string had been. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in that imperfection, there was beauty so raw that people began to cry. When the final word left his lips, the hall went still. Then Simon stood, clapping slowly, his voice breaking as he said, "That wasn't a performance. That was life itself." Cameras captured the boy trembling, tears rolling down his cheeks. For the first time in years, he wasn't singing from pain, he was singing from peace. After the show, backstage lights flickered as he stepped into the hallway. The janitor was waiting there, still in his work uniform, his eyes bright with pride. "You did it," he said softly. "You made her proud." Before the boy could respond, a producer walked over, holding paperwork. "Are you family?" she asked the janitor. The old man hesitated, his eyes misting over. "I suppose I am," he said finally. "His mother was my sister." The world seemed to stop. The boy froze, staring at him in disbelief. "You're my uncle," he whispered. The janitor nodded, voice trembling. "When she passed, I searched for you, but you were already gone. Then one night, I heard your voice outside the theater. I knew that voice, I'd know it anywhere. It was hers. It was family. The boy dropped his guitar and threw his arms around him, and for a moment, time disappeared. They stood there, both crying, both healed in a way words could never explain. Two lives that had been lost in different directions finally met again, bound not by blood alone, but by music and love that had never truly died. Months later, the same boy, now confident but still humble, walked back onto that grand stage. The crowd roared before he even sang a note. He carried the same guitar, now repaired and shining, but still bearing the marks of his journey. "Tonight," he said softly, "I sing not to win, but to thank." He looked into the audience, finding his uncle sitting in the front row, holding a framed photo of his sister. The boy began again, playing "Hotel California," his mother's song, but this time with joy instead of sorrow. The audience swayed to the rhythm, the judges smiled through tears, and the camera panned across faces glowing with hope. When he reached the final line, "You can never leave," the words hung in the air like a promise. The crowd rose to their feet, the applause thunderous, the emotion overwhelming. He looked up, smiling through tears. "We made it, Mom," he whispered. The lights dimmed, leaving behind one golden line on the screen: "Sometimes, the poorest voices carry the richest hearts." The audience didn't just see a performance, they witnessed redemption, love, and the power of kindness echoing through every note.